Requests for change, or RFCs, can quickly become backlogged if the process isn't fast and efficient. Most frequent changes should be deployed constantly, and changes that require more scrutiny also need efficiency. But you can get rid of the complexity by designing a workflow. Let's see how we can create a change request workflow now. Hi, Matt Barron, Product Specialist at InvGate. With InvGate Service Desk, you can quickly build a change request workflow to handle changes efficiently and consistently. And the best part is you don't need to start from scratch. You can actually use our pre-built request for change workflow template. Before we get started, you can always grab a trial instance of our software at try.invgate.com and follow along. And you'll find a link in the description. Automating and maximizing efficiency with change requests is one of the best ways to improve service management outcomes. And with our visual workflow builder, you've got what you need to automate what you can and maximize the rest. And what's great is that the basic steps of the process are already designed for you in our template called Change Request. Let's see what it looks like by logging in as an administrator, going to Settings, and then going into Workflows. Workflows has a list of all of the workflows in our system, and there are lots of automation choices, but Workflows is the visual builder that allows multiple teams to work together and for you to visually view the automation as it's happening through the lifecycle. So in this case, on a request for change, we're going to have to start with a change request form. For that, we can double click on the Start step here, and that's going to show us this default change request form that we've built for you. Now, your mileage may vary. You are going to have a different process and different requirements of your change process, so make sure that you're changing this change form to fit your needs. For example, you might need to add fields. And what's great about our form builder view here is I can always switch over to preview and see what this change request form looks like. And if I need to customize, I can remove, make fields required, I can make them non-editable so they're read-only, and I can set default values for each of these fields. Now, we might actually be tracking risk on our changes. So to track risk, I'm just going to click on Add Field. We'll call it a new field. And we're going to make this one a list so that you get a choice from 3 different options. And the list is going to be called, the field is going to be called risk. And in the list, we're going to add in some specific items. So I'm going to have 3 layers of risk. We're just going to have low, medium, and high. And that's it. Now that I've got the field added, I can move where it's at on the form. It actually needs to go near the top by the type. And maybe the type fields don't actually work for me. Maybe I do other types of changes besides standard, normal, and emergency. I actually have several different types of standard changes, for example. So in this case, I would actually create a new field, and I'm going to call that a tree field. And we're going to call this the change type. And in the tree field, now you're able to have parent-child nested values. So for instance, if I put in change type up here, and I'm going to force people to choose manually, and they're not able to choose every item. They have to go all the way down to the lowest level of detail under each change type. So for example, if I add in, I'll change these to be standard, normal, and emergency. And then under our standard, I'm going to have very specific ones like restarting a Microsoft server. We're going to have bouncing a service. And maybe something like a network change. So you could see there'd be hundreds of standard requests under here. I would even probably sort these into specific categories like server maintenance, network maintenance, and application development, and then have sub changes below those. You may have also have multiple different types of normal changes or emergency changes, but since this is for example only, I'm going to make my change process as simple as possible. and just hit save. Now I'm gonna replace my change type with this new change type. So I'm actually gonna take this type and just throw that away. And now we've got my new change type. Now, I don't remember where my change is at, so I'm gonna go back to the view just to make sure that I know that I'm still at the start point. After the start point now, we have a conditional, and the conditional is going to route our different changes based on the type of change that I have. And so since I changed my change type, I'm of course getting an error in my workflow. So here I'll need to double click, and I've got an ECAB, a cab, and else. So this is going to be for emergency changes, this is going to be for normal changes, and then everything else goes straight into implementation and automation. So I need to change these conditions. So for now, the ECAB, when it's going to go to ECAB, the condition is where the change type, it's going to start with start, and it's going to be called change type. So there's my new field. And anytime it's going to the ECAB, it's got to be an emergency change. So I'll just save that. Anytime it's going to the cab, it's got to be a normal change. Find that same field. Normal change, hit apply, and hit save. Now when we go back to the workflow, perfect. Now that I've got everything routed, the conditional is going to route changes appropriately. Some of them go straight to implementation. My standard changes go straight into implementation, but everything for ECAB, for the emergency cab, and everything for the normal cab are all going to the right locations. Then in these approvals, I could change these. I can change who the group is. I can change, maybe it goes to their manager. In this case, it does. Maybe there's an expiration date or a pause SLA. They need to get this done with a specific time. Maybe they need additional information. You can customize what the approvers see. Then if they get rejected, both of them go to the notify change rejection, which is a simple email that says your change was not approved. You might throw in some additional details here. And then it's going to go, after that notification, it's going to go ahead and just cancel the change. If we go into implementation, we have some specific tasks. So this is a great spot where if I've got a standard change, I might want to change the specific tasks that are out here. So in this case, I would actually add an additional conditional. Say that 10 times fast. Under the steps menu, I'll choose conditional and I'm going to throw it along this path here. And this is going to do routing for our changes, our standard changes. So I'm going to take another set of tasks and I'm going to put that out under the else. So we'll do tasks here, move it up here. And now if the change is a server restart, for example, it's going to head to a different location. So server restart is now going to go to this additional new tasks up here. And then else is going to go to implementation. So now we've got that rerouted, and this one is going to need to connect with review because even standard changes get reviewed. Now my conditional is going to take that server restart, and it's only going to go there if I've selected a specific change. So I'm going back to that change type field again. And I'm going to move away from not just standard, but I need it to be this restarting a Microsoft server so that only those changes are going to go to this set of tasks. Click save, go back to the view. Now the server restart tasks are very specific. So for this, I'm going to go into the tasks and I'm going to say, get a temporary admin account. My second task is going to be log in and shut down services cleanly. And then finally perform the restart. And the most important task of all, make sure all services are restored successfully. Your steps may vary, of course. So at this point, I'm going to just go back to the workflow. Those tasks will be sent out, and I'm going to rename this one actually. We'll call this tasks for server restart. Save. So this would be a way for you to quickly not only develop the subtasks that go along with your specific standard changes, but this might be a point for automation of, we're doing these tasks manually today, shutting down the services, restarting the server, making sure that stuff comes back successfully. But tomorrow we might want to automate that. So for that, I can actually go in here and I can add in a web service. And then that web service could maybe perform those duties for me. And if it does actually perform those duties for me, I can take out these tasks and just rely on the automation. Pretty handy way to go from walking to running. The next steps in the process look like this. There's a review step to make sure that we did all the things that we expected to do. If we needed to roll back, we rolled back. We listed off the results of the change. These are the change success criteria. And if we look at this, then eventually we also have a specific conditional for whether we needed to roll back or not. If it wasn't approved and reviewed, the review said no, that wasn't very good, then we need to roll back, and then the rollback tasks go out. So you would set up specific tasks here, maybe specific automation there, and it's also kicking off a email for any time that the change is completed successfully. And that finishes our change request workflow. I hope that you see how you could use this to customize your change management process and really get a jump start on providing a great experience for your infrastructure and other IT teams. And this is just one aspect of InvGate Service Desk that's designed to make automation easy for everyone. For more on this topic, subscribe to our YouTube channel or discover our solutions by signing up for a trial at try.invgate.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you again soon.